Okay, this is going to be my guide commentary for the Arcane Mage Star Challenge. This is the talents I played. There is nothing particularly special here except I'm playing a Orb Barrage kind of cleave build, and I have picked up Chrono Shift instead of the pointed improved Arcane Missiles because you do a lot of kiting in this challenge. So let's jump straight into it. Um, for the most part, you're just kiting, you're just spamming Arcane Blast and Arcane Barrage. So in the opener, I set focus on the Runeseer. He is the only caster in this, so it makes it a lot easier to kick things if you have a kick focus macro and you just focus him at the start. There is no phases in this fight that change based on the boss's health, so damage at every phase of the fight is worth the same amount, so you just want to do as much damage as possible in the opener. So as soon as this starts, the first thing I'm going to do is kick the Runeseer. I'm going to stand on the Jarl and get everything stacked up as fast as possible. Double Lust Pot and just fucking do as much damage as I can. I do kind of a mix between like single target and AoE opener here because it's kind of awkward. They're not always stacked, which makes it a bit awkward to do like full AoE. So as soon as you get out of the opener, you will be kind of low. Just milk as much damage as possible because once you get out of that little hole in the corner, even though you can see I'm low, I don't take any more damage. So just milk as much damage as possible at the start of the fight. The caster guy just casts Shadow Bolts. You can just kick him whenever he casts. Okay, you can see we have soaks coming up soon. So these 3 runes spawn on the ground. They spawn at different sizes and they shrink, and whenever they like fully shrink, they explode and kill you. So you just walk over them and it soaks them. Obviously you want to try and prioritize soaking the small one first because it is just the closest to exploding. These gold orbs spawn from Valkyrs. Whenever you run over them, you get healed to full health. So they don't stay on the ground forever, so you want to pick them up reasonably quickly, but you can leave them there a little bit. See, I just play the soaks. So this is Sigrun's main mechanic. She casts a spell called Blood of the Father, which is a cast time. It puts a buff on her, and she pulses AoE damage for 25 seconds whenever the cast completes. If she is CC'd, she will not be pulsing AoE damage. On this fight, your polymorph can polymorph bosses, but it has a long cooldown. So if I was to break this polymorph, I cannot re-polymorph her, and it was a wipe. It would be a wipe. I made this weak aura to track the buff, so it just says don't break polymorph, because if I break polymorph while this buff is up, she'll kill me. So it's really important that I'm not casting AoE abilities here because I don't want to break the polymorph. If you cast the polymorph during the cast and it interrupts her cast, she will not gain the buff, and you can just instantly break her out. I let this cast finish for the sake of this guide to explain this mechanic and show you this sort of don't break the polymorph weak aura, but if you interrupt the cast and you don't see this weak aura on your screen, you can just keep going, break her out, and break her out and keep doing damage. So the caster's main mechanic is this ancestral knowledge. He puts a shield on himself, you have to break through the shield, and then once you break through the shield, you can kick. You're in no rush to kick because once he's channeling, he's not doing anything. Like, I know that I can just safely wait until this is at 1 or 2 seconds and then kick. Main mechanic that is probably going to kill you outside of Blood of the Father is Dark Wings. So a line of Valkyr will spawn at one side of the room, and there will be a gap in the wall, and then they will charge across the room, and they will kill you if you're not in it. So you can see here, I get in the gap, and then I keep going. One thing that is really tricky with a Valkyr is, because this is like a circle room, and the Valkyr spawn in a line, it can kind of throw off your perception of where the gap is. Like, you can sometimes feel like, oh, that was bullshit, I shouldn't have died to that. The Runeseer's main mechanic is this Blade Storm. He starts Blade Storming and he sucks you in. It's just kind of whatever. You don't really need to worry about it, just don't go near him. You can see this overlaps with Blood of the Father. I'm going to polymorph this time and try and interrupt the cast, which I do, and you can see there's no buff on Sigrun, so I can just break her out of the polymorph instantly. Again, soak. So Darkwing spawn. This one is fine because it's close, but if they spawn on either side of the room, it can be kind of tricky to line up. And you'll see I'm just Arcane Explosioning and Arcane Barraging to kite. And that's what most of this fight is. Darkwings again. Maybe this one comes from the side. Nope, it doesn't. Get kind of lucky on this pull. So he starts casting Ancestral Knowledge. I'm not super worried because it's a really long cast and my CDs are coming up. So... Oh, I even break him out before using my CDs. Maybe I don't even use this last set of CDs. For the sake of extending the fight. Yeah, get close to the wall. Makes it easier to see where the gap is. There will be an overlap. I think it's after this point. There's an overlap where they all cast their ults at the same time, but I don't even get there. So yeah, hopefully this is helpful. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.